Every time a hurricane hit, it gets worse and worse. We lose a little bit more, a little bit more. I don't think we can lose much more. We don't have much more to lose. But hopefully things will change some kind of way. Things will change. That's what we're hoping for.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming. But I know, yes I know, yes I know that a change is going to come. It's been too hard living. Oh, and I'm afraid to die, because I don't know what's up there. I don't know what's beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming. But I know, yes I know, yes I know, one day a change is going to come.
You know, God made a change in our city, and I just look at it from a spiritual aspect. There's nothing we could do about that. It was unexpected. You know, the man-made side of it is that the levees gave away. You know, we missed by the storm, but when the levees gave away, it was horrible. All what you're looking at right now, man, this was a place like a ghost town. And so when I first came back, cruising these same streets, I saw maybe one or two, and that was after maybe 2 months of being away and allowed to come back into the city.
But oh, there have been times that I thought, do you know, I thought I wouldn't last too long. But right now, I know that I'm able. Now I am able to carry on. But it's been a long time coming. But I know, yes I know, yes I know that one day a change is going to come. And I said it's been too hard living. And oh my God, I'm afraid to die. People, I don't know what's up there. I don't know what's beyond that sky. But it's been a I say that it's been a long time coming. Oh, I know, yes I know, yes I know, yes I know. I know that one day a change is gonna come. That's right. Yeah.
When I knew that I was going to come back was October, the month after the storm, and I came back for a weekend and Kermit Ruffins was playing at Fat Harry's. The response of people, the smiles on people's faces to seeing Kermit perform was outstanding. And then in November, Kermit was on the cover of Downbeat magazine with the quote, "We will swing again." And I knew that if I wasn't going to come back to the city, then who would?
Since you left me, tears are falling
Can't hear my lips a calling. Come back to Louisiana. I ain't lying, I ain't faking. It's my whole heart that's breaking. Come back to Louisiana. Nothing seems right, no days, only nights. Don't you know I'm lonely? I love the road, my dear road's full of sand. I don't even know my name. Come back to Louisiana. At times I think I'm dying, even willow trees are crying. Come back to Louisiana. Nothing seems right, no days, only nights. Don't you know I'm lonely? I love the road, from heroes full of sand. I don't even know my name. Come back to Louisiana. At times I think I'm dying, even willow trees are crying. Come back to Louisiana. Come back to Louisiana. Come back to Louisiana.
I still live in a kind of a strange fog because there were 9 months of my life that I left here after Hurricane Katrina. My band, we actually just, literally the whole band moved to St. Louis for 9 months.
It was the only time that I left a city besides my hometown of Detroit that I actually felt homesick. And I felt so homesick for New Orleans that I had to come back.
Even when I would see musicians when we were locked out of the city and it'd be a gig somewhere else, that was the one point when they got on stage or you were listening to them where you could actually block all the crisis out of your head and concentrate on the music. And it was very, very, very healing and still is. And I think it's one of the lifebloods of our city.
After the flood, everybody I knew, myself included, was worried about finding gigs so you could feed yourself and make rent. And nobody I knew was thinking about making music because, you know, you used to have the money, you didn't have the mindset. The check is in the mail. That's what the government tells me about me getting a new place to live, speaking of the flood. So hot so soon, it reminded me of leaving. Walked into a crowded room, looked round for a place to stand. Everyone I didn't know or knew reminded me of you, reminded me of leaving. So I came home, I quit the band, I quit my tour bus, I quit my rock and roll arenas and big nightclubs, and I came home. And I was really humbled because I came to Frenchman Street to sit in with my friends who I loved and who inspired me, and I found out that I was stagnant as a musician. I played rock and roll for 15 years, the same songs. So it was inspiring, it taught me that I needed to communicate as an artist, as a performer. I learned. I grew again, and I didn't know why. I couldn't articulate what this journey was I was on, and eventually I realized all I had left after the flood was my music. My music had to make sense to me in order for my life to make sense. This evening reminded me of leaving. Just breathing reminded me of leaving.
I've been living in New Orleans since 1993 and was dumb enough to stay here for Katrina and also Gustav.
I've been here for 10 years, and I went through that hurricane named Hurricane Katrina that I'd rather not talk about, but I went through that, so I feel just about as native as anybody, and I belong here, and a lot of us do.
Everybody loves to mess around. You take Sally and I'll take Sue. We're gonna do that thing, baby. Me and you, we're gonna mess around. Yeah. Everybody loves to get right down. I said, everybody get down. Everybody loves to mess around. Yeah. Girl with a diamond ring, she knows how to use that thing. She loves to mess around, yeah. Everybody loves to get right down. I said, everybody get down. Everybody loves to mess around, mess around. Everybody get down. Everybody loves to mess around. I love to mess around too with you. Oh yeah. That was sick. Doing a mess around for you, you heard? Cheers.
The musicians in this town is what makes New Orleans. If it wasn't for us, the tourism business would be shot, as far as I'm concerned.
So we came back, moved into a place in the Marigny. The first week we were there, our downstairs neighbors, we were leaving, and they said, be careful. My mom just got mugged last night at 9:30 at night. And we were, oh wow, and a guy put a gun to her head and yanked her jewels off her, or whatever, her necklace off. Wow, and we walked away thinking, oh my God, here we are back in New Orleans and there's crime and it's tough. And as we were walking, we walked to Frenchman Street to get my bike fixed at Michael's bicycle. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's already great jazz coming out of the Spotted Cat. In that 6 blocks, music was flowing out of bars everywhere. Music was in the streets, music was in the air, music was in my breath. And we realized that yes, people get mugged everywhere, but this doesn't happen everywhere. You don't breathe music in every place in America or every place in the world. In fact, in very few places.
These songs have been lived in a little house on Desire Street in the 9th Ward. Went from bar to bar and back out onto the street and back into another bar. Made love to a dancing girl in Jackson Square. Beer-soaked, love-infused songs from New Orleans.
You know, you come to New Orleans and have a great time. On the other hand, we need to have it to work other than just a tourist attraction and a good party or a one-night stand. You can only drink and dance and, you know, a parade so much. Behind that is the future of the children's education, health care, housing, substance abuse, all types of social issues that has to be addressed. And that part of New Orleans is what is going to either make or destroy it. And it might already be destroyed because it has generations of neglect.
When President Bush was here, that's where Brian Williams was when they did the nightly news.
The view out there, I think if you ask 9 out of 10 presidential historians, high point, Bullhorn in the rubble of the buildings that came down. Low point, we're standing on it. Is that fair?
I may have to wash, may have to sew, I may have to cook, I may have to scrub the floor, but you gotta help me. I can't do it all by myself. If you can't help me, I'm gonna have to find somebody else.
How many people can say that the president came to your house, you know? And they actually signed it, and they even sent me a couple of Christmas cards. And I feel fortunate for that. I had a Barack Obama sign. It's in the house now since he's president. I'm going to save it until I see him the next time and have him sign it. He was painting some of these houses, and I played for him. He was tickled to death. He goes, "Oh, man, it almost make me feel like I'm back in Chicago. Playing that blues, man, that's all right." I heard about the musicians village and asked them, and they were nice enough to have me up in there. And I did a couple of benefits for them, but I'm just happy as I can be that I got the first house, and this is my house. I never really owned anything new, but this is it, and I'm doing my best to hold on to it. I'm not making that much money as of yet, but I'm hoping.
Goodbye, baby. Goodbye, honey child. Goodbye, baby. Goodbye, honey child. Bye-bye, baby. Bye-bye, honey child.
Came down to New Orleans. I went and performed for all the volunteers that were gutting the houses, and and the community centers and and the soup kitchens, and people would be gutting houses and they'd take off their little toxic suits and come stand out on the porches, and I'd sing songs, remind them of what a beautiful job they're doing for the city of New Orleans.
And I'd like to raise this toast. This is an ancient toast my family has said from the way back. My ancient Norwegian, Polish, Scot, Irish, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, Asian, African, North American, South American, Native American, Eskimoian, and Gypsy Jewish ancestors used to say, "Let the good times roll." Cheers! Are y'all ready for a change? Are y'all ready for a world change? Then you got to get down with your inner change. Now back to a scene that you may recognize. A group of ordinary people living our lives. We're not birds of a feather, but we fly together. We all needed this roof to keep out the weather, so we share and working chores, cause we're mostly poor. Can't hire maid or butler to open the doors, but we put our dough together, so when we make bread, everybody in the house gets equally fed. We call it a rainbow for a lack of better name. Anybody can join, we're all treated the same, because the house is equal opportunity, no matter age, color, race, or sexuality. Now it's almost time that I gotta get out, but there are things you can never ever know about. So before you judge what's in front of you, just remember there's more than one point of view. And now it's finally time that we're gonna get started. I'll remind you all to stay open-hearted and keep an open mind, because that's where we'll find all the important things. 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 Woo! Yes! Woo!
I think why live music really survives here is because it's allowed to. There's a demand for it. It's really appreciated. It's also a very welcoming music scene.
I was lucky enough when I came to New Orleans to be accepted. People didn't look at me as the white guy. Maybe they did look at me as the white guy from St. Louis, but they didn't treat me that way. And I was thrown right into the big leagues, if you will.
Most other cities that I know of, you're in one band, it's all competition, there's not a whole lot of support. Whereas with here, if you're in one band, you're in 4 or 5 bands. Everybody jams with each other, everybody's very supportive of each other, and you're given that opportunity. And live music has just always been part of society here and part of life here.
Tonight, when somebody asks you where Wyclef Jean is from, you say he's from fucking New Orleans. New Orleans, let me feel you. It's my Negro, it's my Negro. Here we go. Oh, 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 oh. Tear the club up. Everybody now waving, 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 waving.
In this city, if it's not music, it's food.
Music, art, and food is what brings people to New Orleans.
Po' boy, it comes from a term, there was factory workers on strike and local restaurants were donating sandwiches.
It was really affordable for them to eat, and when they all come around, the owners would be like, the poor boys are coming, and they would sell, like the first one was the French fry po' boy.
And they would sell them sandwiches for like a nickel or something really cheap. And as a striker would come in the door, they would scream back to the kitchen, po' boy in the house! And hence the name, and it's stuck. And that's the origin of the po' boy.
Chop, y'all, chop on the grill.
Making our po' boy, we have to butter the bread, warm our bread, butter it on one side. Then we put a little meal on it. Our lettuce and tomatoes, just like this. 1, 2, 3. Our pickles. That's the making of a shrimp po' boy. It's the best way to eat it, fully dressed.
Music is to New Orleans like red beans and rice. When you have, when you get up and eat the grits and eggs and coffee and chicory.
The food is wonderful.
Yeah, well, yeah, after eating a plate of red beans and rice, you know.
Oh, God, that's every day.
With the gumbo, all that stuff.
Gumbo was actually a peasant's dish. It was made from mixed things that were left over. It's a blend of spices, herbs, chicken, andouille sausage, and a cooked roux. That gives it its color and its flavor.
I moved to New Orleans in 1988 from St. Louis. My New Orleans connection came about through a relationship with Wynton Marsalis. He convinced me to move down here. I thought I wanted to be a classical trumpet player and play jazz on the side, and he was like, you know, you want to be a jazz musician. I was like, yeah, you're right. So I ended up down here.
So nice by the fire while the breeze on high sang lullaby. You'd be old, I could desire under stars chilled by the winter, under an August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, just like paradise to come home to and love.
I'm drawn to a very specific genre of music, and it's basically, it's like I'm in love with the American songbook from probably the 30s and the 40s. My whole thing is trying to create this connection between improvising and playing straight-ahead jazz and using the vehicle of American pop tunes, old pop tunes, and then adding the element of improvisation and really authentic swing. Well, my folks are both. My mom's a vocal music teacher, and my dad was in the symphony since 1964. And so growing up, that's kind of like, that's all I knew. I mean, my parents, it was just always musical around the house. My dad has always been, and always was, a huge jazz fan. So I was lucky enough at a really young age to be exposed to some really great jazz music.
You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire.
Just to bring the whole thing full circle. My dad played piano in a dance band. And so the other day he emailed me. He'd gone through some stuff at my grandmother's house and found a song list. And his set list shares about 20 of the songs on my set list.
You'd be so nice, just like paradise, to come home to and love. To come home to and love. To come home to and love.
I've been playing music in a band professionally since I was in high school, which may be almost 20 years ago. Playing drums. I started off playing drums in my dad's band, Jude Taylor. Most all the guys that actually like have Zydeco bands right now, they dad, it was something like, you know, oh, I see my dad do it. Your dad got you to start playing drums, that type of thing. And then once you get old enough and you get it down, then you start doing your own thing. I play the same songs that he would play on, you know, because I was brought up listening to some of the older music, like from the old school music, the Sam Cooke, that type of stuff. And so we incorporate that in our Zydeco music.
Somebody grab somebody. You've been working hard all day. You ain't told that woman you love her. This is the time.
Oh, I'm coming home. 'Cause I feel so alone. That's why I'm coming home. Coming back home where I belong. You know, all my friends, they are turning back on me. That's why I'm coming home. Coming back home where I belong. Got something? Pour it, pour it. on to me. Bring your sweet love and bring it on to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know I always sing it, Corey. Be a slave.
Sing it, Corey.
Till I'm married in my grave. So bring it on home to me. Bring your sweet love and bring it on to me. Yeah. Bring it on to me.
One of the things I hear all the time is people don't feel like things are moving. Get things moving, right? You hear that all the time, everywhere you go. And so some of the advice I try to give to people is, you know, it's hard for me to just write 2 new pieces of music, let alone what it takes to make a city exactly what it should be. So the process is going to be long, right?
Tonight's show is at Christchurch Cathedral. It's a concert called All the Saints, and it's something that he started doing the year after the storm, in November after Katrina. Irvin is a very hard worker who understands that he needs to surround himself with talented people, whether it's the musicians on the bandstand with him or whether it's his manager and agent and record label and so forth. So he understands all of that about the business. He also technically performs at an extremely high level and aspires for greatness. Irvin is the officially appointed cultural ambassador for our city and our state, and his ability to win friends and influence people and surround himself with the right people to accomplish his goals. He has a drive that very few musicians have. The Elysian trumpet was commissioned in memory of his father, who drowned in the flooding after Katrina, as well as the 1,000+ other people who died after Katrina. And it's a living, breathing piece of art memorial that has an amazing sound.
Elysian Fields is the street that my dad's body was found on after Hurricane Katrina. The Elysian trumpet was created to talk about the concept of Hurricane Katrina and give people an opportunity to have a healing portion of the experience of talking about it. So this trumpet gets blessed. It's insured for about $1.3 million. It travels with armed security guard. I'm the steward of it. There's a spiritual warden, and I'm the artistic warden, so I decide when it gets played and who plays it and how much it gets played on. It's an idea of the city, it's an idea of the tragedy, but it's also an idea that those folks who lost their lives, that they wouldn't have lost them in vain, that we need to stay committed to make this place a much better place than what it was before.
program I started with the National Park Service, and I wanted to make sure that young people had opportunity to learn and also to keep the spirit of music alive. They're getting a great opportunity that a lot of people don't get. They're coming along, you know, but they're off to a great, wonderful start.
My name is John Michael Bradford, and I'm 12 years old.
My name is Aurelian Barnes, and I'm 13 years old. I play trumpet.
Jazz Center every Saturday, and they bring bands in, professional bands like Treme, New Wave, Storyville Stompers, and just they bring these great bands in and they teach us the traditional jazz. They teach us how to play off each other. It's what we want to do when we grow up.
Yep.
It's what we want to do with our life. If it's not in your heart, it's not going to sound that good. You got to feel the music.
some of the kids that you've seen play today, you know, we help teach the young musicians the traditional of the music, the way Louis played it, and even the way musicians played it years before Louis. So we do it all. It's a nice, you know, it's something nice, you know, something that we give back to our community.
There's still enough, I think, of where your youth that sees your bands playing or your brass bands playing in the street or whatever it is, where it does really grab them. So you still have that ability for the music to pass on.
Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans and miss it each night and day? I know I'm not wrong. The feeling's getting stronger the longer I stay away. Miss the moss-covered vines, the tall sugar pines, where mockingbirds used to sing. And I'd like to see the lazy Mississippi hurrying to spring. The Mardi Gras, the memories of Creole tunes that fill the air. I dream of oleanders in June, and soon I'm wishing that I was there. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans when that's where you left your heart? And there's something more, I miss the one I